All right, welcome back to Twin Terror. I'm David,
And I'm Gary.
and today we are going to read about boxes, banker boxes filled with documents.
Yes, personal documents, nothing classified, nothing to see here. So,
Carry on.
yes, someone had mentioned in the comments that asking if we had seen that Trump had returned those 15 boxes of documents back to Florida from Washington, D.C. And it turns out, yeah, he had Air Force One. They loaded 15 boxes on Air Force One and shipped it back down to Mar-a-Lago
And
for
what did
Trump's.
Trump say? What did Trump say about those boxes?
He said, "These were my personal things. These were my items. I did nothing wrong. Um, they are being brought down to Florida and will someday be part of the Trump Presidential Library." So what that tells me is what it is. It was just basically a bunch of pictures. Like when we were kids, you always got books with pictures in it because it was
Yeah,
easier to read. Yeah, because there's some speculation whether Trump can actually read.
yeah. I
I,
did watch a TikTok where Prince Charles or King Charles wrote Trump a letter, and he opened it and he kind of looked at it. Oh, oh, there's a signature on the back. See, I didn't want it if it didn't have a signature. That makes it valuable. And then he hands it over to Sturmer and says, "Why don't you read it and tell people what it says?"
yeah,
Yeah,
it's Trump Presidential Library. I mean, what an oxymoron!
I
That
mean,
man is.
he's got to be able to read because he reads teleprompters. So when people say, "Oh, he can't read," it's like he can't. He can read a teleprompter enough that
Yes.
he can get through speeches. But for all we know, Prince Charles wrote it in cursive writing, and Trump can't read cursive writing.
Yeah,
But probably not that either.
or he's got no reading comprehension.
Yeah,
It's very interesting because once you take him off a teleprompter, he can't format a cohesive thought.
no,
Yeah, it's
he
just
rambles.
stream of consciousness at that point.
Yeah.
It's one thing I enjoy about reading with David is when you have
Oh,
an
you actually
opinion.
enjoy this?
Yes, I do actually.
It's a necessary evil.
When you have an opinion, it comes across that you have definitely thought about
Yeah.
what you are extolling, what you're going on about. It isn't like just shooting from the hip all the time. You've spent time thinking about it, and it shows. Whereas Trump, he's just shooting from the hip. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. It's whatever someone tells him.
Not even putting sauce on them, just salt and pepper. Very
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, rotisserie
Hard on the
style.
blood pressure.
If we just did a rotisserie style, slow roasted, that would probably be okay. But
That still traumatized me. That Jason and the Argonauts with the Cyclops rotating those three guys over the fire. Ah.
I don't know. I was a little more traumatized by the skeletons popping out of the ground. With the
That does
swords.
it too. But I mean, I guess Cyclops is like their food cooked, which I never would have thought.
Well,
Like
they're
the
not
barbarians.
they're not barbarians. They're very sophisticated. They just have one big eye. Don't judge. Ah.
Eating grapefruit is devastating to them. Anyways, carry on.
Okay, so the one thing David asked that there's nothing in the article is those classified documents that he managed to weasel his way out of. Did they return those as well?
Yeah, no, because because they're putting banker boxes filled with documents that the FBI sees. Remember, he was mixing in top secret documents in with like uh, fake Time magazine covers in his underwear and stuff like that. Just which is why they had to see so many boxes and open up all these boxes because it wasn't just 15 or 18. There were like I thought it was like 50 or 60 boxes. It was bunches of boxes that they took out. So you can return these boxes after you've taken the top secret documents out of them, and then he can have his boxer shorts and his fake Time magazine covers and newspaper articles and stuff like that. But Trump is the type of person to leave those details out. He's just going to say, "Oh, the boxes got returned. It was all my stuff. I never did." And then, which is true, That I never did anything wrong. Lie. There was never anything bad in there. Lie. Take a little bit of truth and throw a bunch of lies in there.
Yeah. Justice was finally served. A lie. It was an attack on a political opponent. Lie.
A lie.
Yeah. The only reason why it became news is because he didn't return the shit when they asked him to. I mean, Biden and Pence both had stuff too, and they're like, "Oops, here it is. Sorry." And
come take all of it,
because they realize that, oops, screwed up. It happens. No harm, no foul, and it would have never seen the light of day if he just would have complied. So I figured.
No, it's just that conservative watching cops kill black people. They wouldn't have been shot and killed if they had just complied. And then when it gets turned around on the other foot, when you have some white person acting out and the cops are extremely patient with them, finally tase them, and then the cops like, it wouldn't have been so bad if you had just complied. Here's a bit of your own medicine. But boy, they were a lot gentler with you than they would with a brother,
Yeah. Could you imagine if what was the guy, the 21-year-old kid that was using his he was spewing the secrets to Zarek or something like that?
You're talking about which one? Spewing the secrets?
Yeah.
Snowden?
Yeah. What's that?
Eric Snowden?
No. He was gaming with a bunch of guys on Discord.
Hang on, give me half a second. Because I was all focused on Kyle Rittenhouse, but no, you're talking about
to Zarek or something.
Yeah, to Shara. It was a Hispanic last name, Teixeira.
Yeah, that guy's in the fucking brig, man. He's in the gulag.
He's serving like 15 to 17 years or something like that for that. Exactly. Reality Winner shared some secrets, and she got about 4 or 5 years prison. But yeah, anybody who handles top secret documents, even if you're taking them home to work, you're facing 10, 20 years in prison for that, unless you're Donald Trump.
Unless you're Donald
Trump. In which case, the Supreme Court will carve out exceptions for you.
So, do you want to throw cards to see if the classified documents were returned to Mar-a-Lago, or if it was just the non-classified stuff?
Yeah.
For entertainment purposes only.
All right. Come on down.
Hey, you're a cat father.
I am a cat father. Let's take a look at the energy around this. I always like looking at the energy around this thing first. It's an illusion. It's a manifestation. Trump always takes that opportunity to take something nebulous and spin a story around it. So he probably even made a point of putting those boxes on Air Force One just so he could say that there's nothing in there, basically declaring his innocence. But it's a stage prop. It's an illusion. Cross is the 4 of Wands. Oh, because he's trying to keep himself out of prison. Should he not be the president of the United States, he's trying to set up that reasonable doubt later on by saying, "Hey, look, I took those boxes back, and there was nothing wrong in there." This is him, relieved that he's not going to prison and trying to set up that he doesn't want to go back to prison. Underneath is the 7 of Cups. He lacks integrity. He's also, I think he's just getting more and more delusional.
Yeah.
But he's still, despite the fact that he's getting delusional, he still knows how to create a narrative and bedazzle people with his narrative. Again, this is also to impact juries later on, should he ever be held accountable. In the past, you got the 2 of Wands. He's been stewing about this whole Mar-a-Lago thing, in the near miss that's on that. So I think in some ways he saw an opportunity here to spin something. Current situation, 5 of Cups. I think, you know what? They probably said he could have his boxes back, but he's mad because he didn't get everything back, everything that was in the boxes.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get all his way 100% of the time, it's just a no good deal.
That makes a lot of sense because nowhere in the article did he say the classified documents that the FBI or that they seized were returned.
Yeah.
And he just got his 15 boxes back.
Yeah. But here's the funny thing, they gave him back the 3 cups, but the 2 cups he really wanted, they kept. So he's going to take the 3 cups that fell over and make a party out of it. Ha! I got my stuff back. Told you there was no problem. Lesson to be learned. To me, honestly, this is just that near miss. Look at the 2, the 3, and the 4 here. He was that close to prison. So the Supreme Court allowed him to take a step back. Getting elected president is going to keep him that step back. But he also understands that he's not out of the woods yet with this. So just, looking towards the future, let's go ahead and claim victory here to cause reasonable doubt if ever there should be a court case on this one. Outcome is the hanged man. Honestly, I don't think he doesn't really care if people believe it. He cares that he believes it. He's going to continue. So, you know how he always tends to repeat things out of context? Like he'll be talking about talking to farmers in Iowa about the great people of Iowa, and then talk about the unfair witch hunt that happened in 2020 that stole an election and stuff like that. Now, he could be talking to kids with cancer, and he did. He was like talking with kids with cancer, and then he talks about the stolen election, or celebrating some valedictorian. He talks about the stolen election. So expect that this is going to be added to the repertoire of his rallies. I got the boxes back. It was a witch hunt all along. I told you it was a witch hunt, because he's got to just hammer the narrative home. I honestly think that he's worried that people aren't believing him anymore, so he has to try even harder to hammer home the points, because they're not nodding as easily as they used to.
I kind of wonder if he's also counting on presidential immunity, because now he's doing this as a presidential act. I am
sure. Yeah, it could. Well, yeah, possibly, but I don't think they're going to let him take. Well, I don't know.
Well, I'm going to throw cards on it. is just in case he, is he going to try and use presidential immunity as a defense for having documents that he shouldn't otherwise have? That's what I'm going to ask. For entertainment purposes only. Is he counting on presidential immunity to keep his presidential butt out of presidential prison? Foundation of the reading is temperance. He's trying to find that balance. I want the things I want, and I want them without me getting in trouble by having them. The challenge is the cross is the 10 of Wands. It's been a real burden to try and get these documents back. He's been fighting with the courts, insisting that nothing was going wrong and that there was all legitimate. It's also, he made sure he stacked that Supreme Court with people that were like-minded. Energy underneath it is the Ace of Cups. He's happy he's gotten away with this. He's as he quoted, justice is served. There was never a crime. I didn't do anything wrong. But I think in this case, it's just relief, because he thinks that presidential immunity is the perfect cover for him to retain this stuff. In the past, 10 of Pentacles, he was thinking about his legacy. He was basically, these are mine. I want them. These belong to me. And he didn't want the legacy of being not only the first convicted felon president, but the first convicted felon president who also went to jail, or went to prison rather.
I'm sure it has nothing to do with him selling secrets.
No. The current.
No, he said, there you go. He saw the money. Oh,
well, yeah. Except, I've got a presidential library to stock full of stuff. People will pay you to come see this.
yeah, Russians, Chinese. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
As long as you're paying.
Yeah, there'll be a whiskey glass with a bullet sticking out of it, saying, fight, fight, fight. The current energy is the high priestess. It's that keeping secrets and illusions out of the limelight, but also if you ask the right questions, you get the right answers. No one's asking if the classified documents are in there. No one's. I guess let me pivot, because I'm saying, is he going to use presidential immunity as a cover to keep these documents? And right now, it's probably a question that needs to be asked if that's a legitimate defense. He may be asking this, or he may have had someone ask the Supreme Court or his White House attorneys, does this keep him out of trouble if I do this as a president? Overarching energy, the King of Swords. These are mine. This was a witch hunt. These documents belong to me, and I have immunity as president. Lesson to be learned: the Five of Pentacles. Just shutting out the Justice Department. Which department wanted those documents back? The National Archives.
National Archives.
Yeah, you just shut down. It's just kind of an FU to the National Archives, and sorry, these are mine. And you're not going to be able to prosecute me. You're stuck on the outside. Yeah, I think he's. And there you go, magician. Just manifesting an outcome. Maybe I'm just biased, but I think he thinks that these belong to him. And if Jack Smith is able to sort of bring life back to this case, now he's going to say, well, as president, I had immunity, and clearly, because the National Archives and the FBI said I could bring this stuff back to Mar-a-Lago, so it must be okay. And just sort of play into that. That could be what that the Empress is, or not the Empress, sorry.
His MO would be, let's fine, let's get the boxes back, then try and convince somebody to sneak stuff in there that shouldn't be in there. Nobody knows. Go ahead and put them in there. It'll be fine. I got presidential immunity. I'll give you a pardon if they come after you, that type of stuff.
Yeah,
Always eating the edges of people's morals and ethics. Always. That's like his favorite game. His favorite game, his favorite dessert. Everybody's a cookie, and he just likes to eat around the cookie to see how much of that cookie can he get to. He's like a demon that feeds on people's ethics or people's souls, and it's the ethics and morals that are his favorite flavors of their souls.
Yeah, lovely. It's like an Oreo cookie with a soul in the middle. And the High Priestess card is the one that I find interesting on that reading. I'm gonna have to walk around and.
Because those are secrets. Those are government secrets.
Okay.
Top secret stuff. That's that one. He's thought when that card came up, the first thing came to mind. Oh yeah, of course, we're talking about national security secrets and things like that.
Yeah.
So to brag to Australian billionaires about how close a U.S. sub can get to a Russian sub.
So it seems like he's probably got stuff in there that he shouldn't, and he's going to hide behind presidential immunity to keep it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know. I don't think I wouldn't assume that he's got anything in there. That doesn't mean he won't try.
Yeah.
But this particular batch, he's putting it up on display. Look, everyone, this is the stuff they returned. Totally innocent.
Yeah.
100%,
exonerated.
Exonerated, exactly. And but if he's stealing new stuff, he's not going to put that up there for everybody to see. He's going to have people just sneak that out in the middle of the night.
That'd be locked in a different bathroom.
Exactly. All right. Anything else for you?
No, that's enough.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching this video and supporting our channel. I appreciate it.
Yes, if you like these videos, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave a comment. I read them all and I respond to many.
And he offers something that no other Twin Tarot channel that records on a Saturday in the beginning of March offers.
Yes, we offer two things: shout outs and secret cards. Sometimes we offer shout outs with secret cards. And speaking of shout outs, I've got a list right here.
Oh boy.
So we've got several shout outs today. First, Sherry Bishall, Bichall.
I'm glad you practiced the pronunciation of her name before you shouted it out there.
I was going to throw an R in there.
Now she's shouting out all right.
Thanks, Sherry Bishall. Ooh,
she's got plans for you. The lawsuit of butchering her last name is going to cost you some shekels.
Well, you'll like this one because I actually did it phonetically so that I wouldn't butcher it. Kathleen Bourgeois.
Bourgeois.
Oh, bourgeois. Oh, she thinks I'm crazy.
She's under your spell. She thinks you speak like a native.
I'm going to do a repeat call out to President Grumpy and First Lady Tammy West, because we did that yesterday, but that was 40 minutes into a video.
President Grumpy has servants. Feed me. I have hunting I need to do. I need to be well nourished before I go hunt my food.
Okay, this is a good one. Birgit.
Oh, you mean the other ones weren't good ones? Oh, that's great.
No, I'm only taking the tough ones this time around. I got
more
Birgit.
shekels.
Okay, the last name is Riihimaki. Riihimaki or Riihimaki? Yes. Yes, I killed that last name. Sorry about that, Birgit.
I think by trying to pronounce that, you just ordered the puffer fish. Congratulations.
And we're gonna do two more. Deborah Colvin. Come on.
See, now you can do that one. Now things are working for you.
I had to do an easy one. And then finally, Sarah Sachs Medium on the go. Maybe
she doesn't feel so on the go these days.
No.
Maybe Friday the don't buy anything on February 28th stuff kind of went against her. She was trapped for a day.
Maybe so.
It's like a mini COVID shutdown.
I'm curious how that went.
I'm sure corporate media will not talk about it, or if they do, they will only disparage it because it doesn't fit their narrative.
They'll only show stores that were very, very busy and full of shoppers. All right, folks. And then the secret card for us is the Hangman. Hey, that was Dave's outcome card there. Just, what's going on right now? It looks bad, but it's part of the process.
But that's only because you're being hung upside down and all the blood's rushing to your head.
Yes, exactly.
Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
Exactly. June Wagner's card, she has some mermaid cards, and it was a merman being hung upside down.
In a net, yeah.
But we have to look at this in a different perspective. This is all part of the process. This is all part of the plan. It sucks that we have to go through it, but we will get through this, and we will be better when we get through the other side of this. Trust me.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll catch you on the next video. Take care.
Take care. Bye.